We are back in the kitchen with Chef Jon-Paul Hutchins from Le Cordon Bleu College of Culinary Arts, and we just got through making the mushroom and the leek risotto.
Yes.
And now we've moved on to, you said it's a sexy risotto.
This is a very sexy risotto, and this is an entree. And what I have over here is I have kind of our, I threw some water in here and some of our beautiful par-cooked risotto from before. But I have something over here that is very cool. Look in there.
It's pretty.
It's very pretty. It's saffron. And what I did last night, yeah, it's just saffron and water. And I essentially made tea. So I put this in the microwave last night, and that's going to be the base. And it's going to stain it yellow, but it's going to give it a really cool, I mean, see how dark it's getting?
What does saffron taste like? I know I'm going to try it here in a few minutes, but try to explain it.
It's different. It's hard to explain. Some people say it might taste a little metallic. It has a lot of pop to it. So if you have something that's very starchy, like this rice dish, and you add saffron to it, instead of it being kind of like the mushroom dish was very rich and very deep and very
That's
kind of.
how you would describe that, rich.
If it was a stereo, there's a lot of bass in that dish. Rice itself is kind of bassy. It's kind of heavy. So when I add that little snap of saffron, all of a sudden it gets a little trebly. And it becomes a little more interesting. It's not quite as heavy. And all I'm doing is the same thing again. This whole dish is taking us like 3 minutes. Cleaning out the fridge. I found some tomatoes. So I'm going to throw some tomatoes in.
And you said this could be the main course, whereas the other one would be a good side dish.
And you could do, I mean, the mushroom is, you saw, it was pretty rich. It's substantial enough that it would be pretty good on its own. And I'm going to add I had some cooked asparagus. So if you had frozen vegetables, you could throw those in also. And I'm just going to let that heat through for a second. So if you can do me a favor, and you can stir that.
Oh, that's all you want me to do?
I mean,
I put my gloves on. I was ready to get in the kitchen and cook.
This is like the most important part. You are cooking, Andy.
Okay. I'm stirring.
And then I'm just going to chiffonade up some basil to throw in there.
You're going to what it?
I'm going to chiffonade it.
Can you cut it?
Yeah. Okay. But I'm going to cut it really fine. So it looks really cool. So all I'm going to do is take my leaves.
Show the secret to cutting the basil.
And I'm going to roll it up super fine. Okay, so it's pretty tight. So give that a squeeze. Feel that. All right, so it's not gushy, but it's almost kind of like a cigarette, kind of tight. And then I'm just going to cut little shreds. And the reason I do this is I don't want the basil to be bruised, because if it's bruised, all my flavor goes on the board. So if I cut it like this, all the flavor stays in the basil leaf. So when I throw it in there, it's going to taste great. And the reason I cut it so fine is when I throw it in, I don't want the basil to get overcooked.
Now this looks like it's getting a little, what is that word that you use? That it's
a little bit tight?
Yeah, so
okay.
Would you just remove it?
No, you're going to be okay. And the reason why, this is an excellent question, those tomatoes are really wet in there.
Okay.
So as they're going to throw off some liquid. But if it got a little soupy, that's it. Just add a little more liquid. But that looks gorgeous.
But I wouldn't.
So I'm going to take this.
Okay.
No, I think this looks fantastic. Okay. And our shrimp are just cooked through. And I cut the shrimp in half so they cook a little bit faster. But you could certainly leave them whole. If you wanted to do cooked shrimp, you could throw a cooked shrimp in there. And then just add it at the last minute just to warm it through.
That is beautiful.
But isn't that gorgeous?
Yes.
And then just a little bit of basil on top.
So when we put the basil in, that was just the final thing that we did, just to sort of heat it up.
So the idea is by cutting it that fine, you're exposing a lot of surface area, so when you throw it in, all the flavor comes out immediately.
Right.
So if I left the leaves kind of big and chunky, I have to cook it for a while to get that same flavor.
And you could also put chicken in there, right? If you just wanted to substitute.
You could throw a sausage and chicken and shrimp, more like a paella.
Of course.
What?
That's what I was going to say, a paella.
Is that crazy? But that's it. That's just...
Okay, I'm looking for my fork.
All right. Jump on in, sister.
So I could try it.
So this one's a lot lighter. All right. So I didn't check the salt and pepper. I might need a little more salt to it.
I can't even describe the flavor of the saffron. It's like barely there, but enough there to where it's good.
If saffron's overpowering, you know it. Now, saffron's very expensive. It's about $100 an ounce. But you only need about 6 threads to make that whole thing. And 6 threads is, I don't even know if that would show up on a scale.
Okay.
Yeah. So pretty fun stuff.
Can I borrow some saffron before we leave here? Do you have
Absolutely. I know some people.
Okay.
But we have a dessert risotto coming up with macerated brandy black cherries and sauteed apples. And,
yeah, something sweet.
Oh, it's going to be unbelievable.
Okay, I'm very excited.